Corneal transplantation is a procedure in which a diseased cornea, a cornea which has become opaque, a cornea which has stopped functioning, is replaced by a cornea from a dead person. Corneal transplantation is one of the transplantations which has an excellent prognosis. There are many transplantations like kidney transplantation. Now they are transplanting these knee joints and other transplants. But corneal transplant, because cornea being avascular, it doesn't have any blood vessels of its own, is one of the transplantations which is very successful. Now throughout the developing world, there is shortage of corneas because you can only transplant it with a human cornea. You cannot transplant it with an animal cornea or with an artificial cornea. It has been estimated that in India itself, the last estimate I know of was there were 15 lakhs people who were in need of corneas, corneal transplantation. But although there are millions of deaths every year, we have around 15 lakhs people who need this cornea. Now, every year about 10,000 corneas are being transplanted. But at the same time, every year more than a lakh is added to those that list wherein we need a corneal transplantation. So it is a very gloomy picture, and we have to make people aware about the utility of this corneal transplantation. Although there is no accurate assessment of the people who are blind due to the corneal disease in the valley, we have been seeing increasingly large number of patients coming with the corneal diseases who need a corneal transplant. The reason being, the causes of this corneal damage is injuries, infections, especially fungal infections, viral infections, bacterial infections, and then there is another condition which is known as keratoconus, wherein the cornea becomes cone-shaped, and because of allergies, or it is in some cases hereditary. And then another factor which has more come into prominence now is the corneal decompensation. Patients undergoing different types of surgeries in the eye. If once they suffer damage to the back of the cornea, they finally end up with a decompensated cornea. This is added to those patients who already had this corneal dysfunction because of the other corneas. This is the only center now in J&K which the best people national accreditation who can make the people aware about the corneal transplantation is the general practitioners, religious leaders, general practitioners, because general practitioners are usually in touch with the patients during their terminal stage of illness. So they can advise them, they can tell them the benefits of donating their corneas. Let me tell you that we started the first corneal transplant around 1973. We did 2 corneal transplants in SMHS hospital. One was very successful. Unfortunately, the other patient we couldn't trace, didn't come for follow-up. But after that, we got some feedback from our religious leaders of that time. They said it is un-Islamic, please don't go ahead with this surgery. Meantime, was in touch with countries where you have predominantly Muslims, especially Saudi Arabia, where Islamic jurisprudence is being practiced. And they subsequently informed me that they had a meeting of their ulamas. And these ulamas decided about the merits and demerits of corneal transplantation, and I was told that this is a precious gift. In Saudi Arabia, they gave a common verdict that it is not an un-Islamic act. There are lots of patients who go from Saudi Arabia to outside countries for corneal transplantation, and then there is a big number of patients in Saudi Arabia itself who have received corneal transplantation, corneas coming from other countries. And third group, where the cornea was given by local people and it was harvested, used for the local people only. Let me tell you some facts about the eye donation. Eye donation is the most precious gift you can give to the mankind. To do so, the eyes are pledged to the eye bank by filling a donor card. The eyes are removed only after death. They cannot be removed during the time that the person is alive. These eyes have to be donated to a bank, eye bank, and this bank should be nearer to the patient's residence so that it doesn't take much time for them to come and remove those corneas. And only adults can pledge to donate the corneas. The eyes of the deceased of any age can be donated by the next of kin, irrespective of whether these were pledged by the person or not. And the eyes are better removed within 6 to 8 hours of the death. So the bank has got to be nearer to the patient. The donor is not taken to the dead body is not taken to the eye bank. The eye bank team comes, they remove the eye, and the whole eyeball, let me tell you, is not transplanted. It's not the whole eyeball. It is only the corneal part which is removed and transplanted into a recipient. That is the one who needs this cornea. The name of the donor and the recipient of the cornea is kept as a secret. The family of the donor, however, should be satisfied that the eyes have been used for good cause to restore vision because if you remove both the eyes of two blind persons. They informed us they constitute a board which unanimously approved the feasibility and the merits of corneal transplantation. They said the verdict was that it is not un-Islamic, but there were certain conditions like that it should be preferably given from a Muslim to a Muslim, number one. Number two, you should have at least this much of the satisfaction, this much of reliability that the cornea which you are transplanting is going to be successful. And you should not cause any cosmetic defect. And all the three can be met easily. Now, it's not so easy to get a cornea. First, wherever you do this corneal transplantation, the center has got to be approved for corneal transplantation. We have a HOTA, Human Organ Transplantation Center organization. You have to be registered with that, and then there is a regional transplantation organization that is in Chandigarh, and then now recently they have started in Jammu, in this place Jammu and Kashmir, with a center at Jammu. Other injuries like pellet injuries are concerned. There was a time we hardly used to get any pellet injury, but unfortunately, because that time the pellet which was used was a single pellet. So it was very rarely that this pellet would go right into the eye. It would go strike anywhere in the body. But subsequently, 2016, we started getting many cases of pellet injuries, because that time the pellets which were being used was in the form of a gush of pellets. So if we fire once, there are about 360 pellets which will come out, and even if you don't aim at your body or somebody's eye, it might hit the eye. We had lots of patients. Some of them, they definitely, where the foreign body was superficial, the pellet was superficial, was removed and with full restoration of vision. But unfortunately, majority of these patients, they got very little vision or no vision at all. Good number of patients, the eye became defunct. They could not see with those eyes.